Hello, everyone. This is the day of reckoning. No, this is the day I've been hyping for 2 weeks. 2 weeks! Where I would talk about an Attitude Era Raw. Now, the Raw I watched was from 3/22/1999 and was the last Raw before WrestleMania 15. For those who don't remember matches at WrestleMania 15, the main event was Austin versus The Rock for the WWE title in their first WrestleMania match. We also had Triple H versus Kane. We had a 4-way and a 3-way for Intercontinental Hardcore. We had Shane versus X-Pac. We had Sable versus Tori. We had a bunch of matches. Now, the reason I watched this was because I was listening to Jim Cornette. And Jim Cornette said Vince Russo's booking style was, let's just throw shit at the fan and hope something sticks. And I have to say, after watching this Raw, I agree with Jim Cornette. So let's get started. This is my notepad. I took notes. Okay, it started with a 20-minute talk with Vince McMahon and The Rock and Shane. Mick Foley came out. He said, I am fighting The Rock tonight on Raw. And Vince is like, no. And then Commissioner Michaels is like, yes. And so he fought The Rock later on Raw. Anyways. And then one of the most famous moments from the Attitude Era happened. And that is Stone Cold drove down in the beer truck, pulled out a fire hose, and sprayed everyone down with beer. This was about 18 minutes in that he did this. Now, first of all, why the fuck would a beer truck have a fire hose on it that sprays beer? I don't see that ever coming in handy, ever. I mean, why would that ever be needed? Do beer trucks respond to fire? I mean, beer will put out a fire if you spray enough beer on it. But that would never happen ever. And the reason he got to commandeer the beer truck is he gave the beer truck driver tickets to Raw. So he got to drive a beer truck and spray everybody with beer. And this is, now, as insane as that is, you gotta think, this is less than 20 minutes into the show. And this big, famous moment happens. Less than 20 minutes into the show. And you gotta think, how the fuck do you top that? That is absolute insanity, and it's completely unrealistic and completely over the top. So how do you top it? Well, they top it later, but we'll get to that here in a minute. Next, we had Jeff Jarrett and Owen versus The Brood as an actual match. Now, this match was too short, as most Attitude Era matches are. And this match had no winner, as most Attitude Era matches didn't. But some of the things that happened during this match. First of all, Edge and Christian look nothing alike. Christian is noticeably shorter. They didn't dress alike. They didn't look alike. And yet they're switching places in this match, and the referee is not noticing it. So either the referee is dumb as hell, or they just wanted to suspend disbelief to the point where you believe a monkey could come flying in, waving a wand and pissing vinegar and pooping gold bricks. That is how unrealistic this is. Anyways, as we know, the Brood gave out bloodbaths. And they gave one to Deborah, and that's how the match ended. There was no winner. Okay, next we had the Jim Ross angle, where Jim Ross was fired, but he's invading with Dr. Death Steve Williams and blah, 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 blah. This angle was completely dropped shortly after WrestleMania. Anyways, Jim Ross is at this fraternity drinking and being Jim Ross. And they're going to him, though he's fired, though he's at the fraternity, and they got a camera, and they're going to him, and it doesn't make any sense. So now we have the Blue Meanie comes out, calling out Shamrock. Now you're thinking it's Ken Shamrock, but no, it's his sister Ryan, and this was part of the Gold Dust angle, where Gold Dust, Ryan Shamrock had a crush on him, and Blue Meanie thought he was his mother, and it was weird and completely dropped later, and it was just fucking weird. Okay. And then they made like 4 pay-per-view matches they announced last minute. This Raw, they're announcing like 4 pay-per-view matches. So, okay, so we got that. Now, at this point, they're hyping 3 matches. They're hyping a Greenwich Street fight between Shane and X-Pac. They're hyping Rock vs. Mankind, and they're hyping Big Show versus Stone Cold, which is the main event. Okay, so we're moving on to the next page. This is when Goldust supposedly comes out to fight Kane, and this is supposed to be a match. Well, Kane turns around and he pulls out, Goldust pulls out what looks like a bazooka. It looks like a freaking bazooka. And he shoots Kane in the face with it. And Kane, of course, goes down. And then Goldust rips off the robe, and it's Triple H. And he's shooting Kane with a bazooka, which is a flamethrower bazooka thing. And, first of all, where the fuck do you buy a flamethrower bazooka at? Second of all, how the fuck would Triple H get his hands on it? Because for those who don't know, flamethrowers are illegal in this country and have been since like the 50s. And third of all, what the fuck? Why isn't he in jail for this? But no, that's the whole thing. So that was just fucking weird. And then we get the Greenwich Street fight between X-Pac and Shane. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about this Raw and the utter insanity of it. And Shane's like taunting X-Pac, like, come in the parking lot. So X-Pac shows up. Shane jumps him with the Greenwich Street Posse, which became the Mean Street Posse. And they jump him and beat the crap out of him, and then Shane drives away with his buddies in cars. That's the match. They hyped this match all night. It's maybe a minute, and that's the match. There's no winner. So, next we have the Ministry versus the Corporation in a tag team match. And they're fighting and outside the ring and into the audience and everywhere. And then all of a sudden, the arena goes dark and the match is over. They're not fighting backstage anymore. They're not fighting anywhere else. The match is just over. The arena went dark. That's it. So again, so far, 3 matches they've had have been just utter bullshit. Which is the Kane Goldust, X-Pac, and Shane, and the Ministry versus Corporation have just been utter bullshit. So we go to Mankind versus The Rock, and they have a Mankind and Rock match. I mean, it's not great, but it's entertaining as hell. And then Big Show comes out and interferes. And it gets The Rock disqualified. So Mankind's now refereeing the main event. So we get more talking. And then we get Stone Cold versus Big Show. Now, this is the only match of the night that is a decent length. Every other match is too damn short, and every match, including this one, ends in either interference or whatever. Just utter insanity. So, we get this one. It's a decent length. And Stone Cold wins by bashing Big Show upside the head with a chair. So that's the end. Every match was too short except for the main event. Just about every match had a bullshit ending. And the highlights were just utter fucking insanity. So that is an Attitude Era Raw. It's okay if you like insanity. It's not good wrestling. It's utter insanity followed by utter insanity followed by utter insanity. And that's it. But the thing is, it makes you want to tune in the next week. Because I wanted to watch more Raw after watching this, more Attitude Era Raw. Even though it's not a good wrestling program. Because you want to know what kind of utter insanity is going to happen the next week, too. So, it works to get you to watch. But it's like Jim Cornette described it, which was two dogs humping. You want to watch it because it's two dogs humping. You don't see that every day. But it's utter insanity. It's not good wrestling. It's utter insanity. And eventually, you're going to get tired of the insanity and tune out, which is what people did, because it's just utter insanity. So that's the Attitude Era Raw. It's not good wrestling. It's just complete and total insanity. Which is complete and total. It's pretty much throwing everything at the wall, hoping something sticks, and hoping people like what sticks. It's completely over the top, completely insane, but it makes you want to watch. So, yeah.